World Financial Group offers entrepreneurs from all backgrounds the opportunity to start their own business on a level playing field. Dr. Jana Woodhouse, receiving the WCM Wall Street Pioneer Award by the United Black Wall Street of America, Inc., is one of those entrepreneurs.
I see WFG and TFA as a place where African Americans with an entrepreneurial mindset can flourish. And the bonus, we help families and serve the communities across the country.
To learn more about us, go to worldfinancialgroup.com.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
She was told that she couldn't play with the boys. She was told that they were too big, too rough, too strong. She was told to give up her dreams and move on. She was told to just be pretty, be quiet, be a lady. She was told that women had to stay on their side of the court, stay in your lane. Playing and competing with men was insane. She was told that men and women would never be equal. Dreaming like that would only be lethal to your mind, to your soul. She never listened. She knew that their thinking was old. She is magic. She is the definition of spirit. She is what champions are made of. She is now.
Greetings. This is Dr. Jana B. Woodhouse on Access Wealth Nation, broadcast through the Soul City Network and also on WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem. And so just bringing forth, this is a time we're entering into our summertime, and we got to be careful that we don't put ourselves into the slumps that take place, especially financially, and to basically be aware of what we're doing. These are times we're watching our stock market go up and down. Greetings to leverage credit. Thank you. I know that's another thing we want to talk a little bit about today also, just to give a little heads up on Tuesdays from the Soul City Network to tap into leverage credit, because credit is important. But of course, we're about financial literacy. I'm not about trying to sell you something. I'm trying to educate. Matter of fact, we're educating you to the level of where you can build yourself to financial freedom. And so being able to do this, we, of course, we have our levels of financial literacy. We use our tools, and until another tool comes even better, we're going to use the How Money Works, Stop Being a Sucker book. That book is written by two of my partners, Tom Mathis and Steve Seabolt, distributed over 500,000 copies. I utilize this tool. Why? Because it's in the book. The answer is in the book, and it's simplistic. If you'd like the book, all you have to do is send me an email from anagenterprisesinc@gmail.com and share your information. It does not get shared with anybody else or any other services. It is just giving me your address, because it is a book. I put the book up. Okay. And so it's information on how money works. Stop being a sucker. Maybe many of y'all don't understand why we have that title that way. But if you go in the bank now, because we are out of the COVID, not going in the bank. So if we go into the bank, you will see there's still candy on either side of the teller. In most cases, they're lollipops, suckers. And so they subliminally are telling you what they think about. But we're going to talk a lot about that kind of idea too. Also, rolling out in June will be another book called How Money Works for Women. Okay, I'm getting it on camera. How Money Works for Women. Take Control or Lose It. Stop Being a Sucker book. And it's even more so focused in on the things that women need to do. So some of the things that we will be doing going forward with Access Wealth Nation, with some of the other experts that I have partnership with, we're going to bring you full financial literacy and how things really work in our community, speaking in our language. And many of people say, well, what does that mean as far as in our language? You know, there are so many things that are culturally different in different groups. Money is green. I got it. But the way that we deal with it is definitely different. And the way that we share information is truly different. So we have to do things a little different. You know, I had the graciousness of going to Costa Rica past few days and talking to some individuals. I'm going to give a big up to Adina and Terrence Hamilton because they celebrated their 40th anniversary. I love the idea of family coming together and supporting each other. And I think it's so important that we prepare. You know, the thing is that, and we all know it, that we're probably going to live long. The key is, how are you going to be living? How you living? You know, do you want to be scraping and scrimping and trying to make ends meet, or do you want to be financially prepared so that you can enjoy life? And some people will say that's not possible, but it is. I'm telling you today, it's possible. But that was one of the beautiful things in this world is that if we prepare and we have a plan, then we're not planning to fail. And so if you really want what we call our discovery call, a financial needs analysis to see where you're at and where you'd like to be, if you'd really like that, it will cost you nothing, no obligation. And it's all you have to do is to call our office at 646-375-2121 and say, I'd like a financial analysis. And you will get one either through me or through some of my partners that I work with and have trained. And so that's one of the other things that is so important, is to have a plan. And then once you have the plan, guess what? You need to implement it. You need to make it work. And if you need help with that, we have some people for you for that too. The key is to get started and not be part of the largest nation in this world. Y'all know what the largest nation in the world is? Procrastination. We all belong to it in some way, shape, or form. And we need to just, tear up our membership card and get ourselves going, get kicking. And I do want to congratulate and commend many of you who have contacted us and have allowed us to assist you in your financial journey. So you got the book to deal with, and you have the financial game plan to be put together. And then you have some people who will help you to move it forward without just educating you, which is so important. So that being said, I have two special guests. And I'm going to say I am truly honored because, sometimes you find people to work with and they go and they come. These have been two, I got to call them brothers from another mother. that have the same type of mission and also focus to assist our community in building their financial plans and their financial goals and getting financially ready for the future, futuristic. And so I'm going to bring them on. And I just want to say these are, again, on the caliber. This is some of the highest caliber financial people that you could have to talk to, and they're financial educators, and they're of course they're in the wrong area of the country. They're down in Florida, but it's okay, they can service. I know they're gonna get me for that, but I just want to say is that we got a lot of information to share with you, and we wanted to talk with you because we're moving forward to doing a lot of financial programs and workshops. And specifically, we're heading into Harlem Week, Harlem Month, really. And going forward, there's a lot of platforms. We are truly focused in on financial literacy. So, with no further ado, and I'm going to let them fully give all of their backgrounds, a little bit about themselves. I'm bringing on Mr. James, get that right, Dr. James Wilkerson and Selwyn Farrell. Howdy.
How you doing?
Good evening.
Good evening. I'm so happy y'all are able to come on. It's another day when we start talking about finance in our community. So if you would be so kind, Selwyn, would you just give us a little bit of your background? Yes, you get to tote about yourself.
First of all, thanks for the opportunity to share with you guys this evening. My name is Selwyn Farrell, originally from Trinidad and Tobago, grew up in Brooklyn, New York, spent a career in the Marine Corps. While I was there in 1989, got introduced to this incredible platform of educating others in financial literacy. Once I completed my career, I stayed in California until 2007 and been in Florida from 2007 to now, and super excited about what we do. And more importantly, really getting our mission out there to help working class people that want to climb the ladder. It's been truly rewarding seeing the lights come on in people's lives and minds, and I'm anxious to see what we're gonna discuss this evening. I'm excited.
I am so excited and glad that you can make it. And I'm just going to say also, we've got to be aware of the power of what's right now on the set, because we have, we represent, it's so few people of color, and especially Black people, who have the licensing and the ability to serve our community. There's a lot of talk out there, but it's not a lot of I'm able to do. And so we'll talk about these things. But before that, I'm going to bring out and let Reverend James Wilkerson, James N. Wilkerson, let me get it right, to speak on just tell a little bit. You don't have to, like we don't have all day to cover all of the accolades for you guys, but we do have enough to tell, because my brother here is one in a million. So he literally, y'all heard the song. So I'm gonna let him tell a little bit about himself.
Well, again, thank you, Jana, for the opportunity to be able to talk today with folks about how money really works. So my story is, a boy was born in Morris Point, Mississippi, surrounded by four walls that were so pretty. And I left quick, fast, and hurry. I attended Florida University, grabbed a degree in accounting, and I spent 20 years in the Navy, flying airplanes all over the world, saw a lot of things, did a lot of things. But I always had a fire on the inside, because I saw how wealthy people lived on the coast of Mississippi, and I figured I wanted to be that guy one day. And so I was living in Hawaii. I worked on my master's degree, got a master's degree with a concentration in taxes. And upon speaking to one of my instructors, he said, James, why don't you consider being a certified financial planner? They get compensated real well and they get to do a lot of great things. And so after doing my due diligence, I say, I could do that. So when I moved to Tampa in 1999, I attended the University of South Florida Certified Financial Planners Program, took the 2 years of coursework, took the 2-day exam. I am now one of the less than 93,000 certified financial planners in America. So that really means out of 332 million Americans, I am really 1 million. But here's the deal. Out of that 93,000, less than 1,700 are identified as Black, African American, whatever you want to call it. That means there's a tremendous opportunity for us to change the narrative going forward about financial literacy. So we're looking to mentor as many people as we can who would like to go out and change the narrative. And one thing that I would share with you is that my mission is simply to help 1 million people who look like me become millionaires through financial literacy. Learn how money works and let's make it work for you.
That's excellent and awesome. And I know we're all on this plan to make things happen. And we're making it happen. My question to both of you is, why is it that is so little of us involved in the financial service industry? I know it's been a long road for me. I sat back and I really thought about why I got into the industry. I got in because I needed to help my folks. That was back in 1984, a long time ago. But I wanted to help our folks because being an accountant, and you don't have to be an accountant to be a financial advisor. I'm telling you on that. But being an accountant and having a tax office at the ripe old age of 19 and seeing that the clientele couldn't invest in 84. I know y'all younger than I am, but in 1984, interest rates were in the high 14, 15%. And the taxation was up to 50%. You think people crying now about taxes? Lord knows, 50% taxes. So that means for every dollar you made, 50% went to Uncle Sam if you made some real money. So I wanted my clients to know how to move towards tax-free investing. And what ultimately happened was I sent them out to financial advisors. They came back tail tucked. Nobody wanted to help them. So that means to me, discrimination, segregation, all of that was taking place even then. So I decided the best thing to do was to go and do this on my own and find out why. So I did find out that the average financial advisor, even back then, people had to have $100,000 worth of income and at least $500,000 to invest. Well, that wasn't my clients. Okay. My folks was in Brooklyn with you, Selwyn. Okay. And, but it's okay because I broke rules and I didn't keep to those. They called me the mercenary investment advisor. That was one who did all the mercenary jobs, anything that was under 100,000. But those people today have their own homes. Their children went to college, and also many of them have retired. So, what is it that you think that is really holding us back as far as people of color being in this industry? Like James, you said, there's only like 1,200 or so that are certified financial advisors. You've got less than, what is it, 2% or 3% of us in any element of the financial service industry other than back office. We do a lot of back office. I've met a lot of folks, when they hear I've been the first woman to trade on Wall Street, and they're like, yeah, well, we were on Wall Street. Yeah, where were you? You were in the back office trading bonds. It's like being in the kitchen in the house and you in the backyard. You ain't doing the real stuff. You ain't coming out to party with us. You just cooking, you know. And I'm not downplaying it because we needed those people there. But the thing is that we also needed them to see our faces. So the floor is yours. Whoever wants to jump in. Why?
I could go first. I believe most people haven't taken the time out to really do a study outside of Google search. That's number one. Number two is do some homework. Additionally, talk to some folks, some level-headed folks to really tell you what it all entails. And I believe you got to have a spirit of service. I always talk about the highest level of leadership is servanthood. It goes back to biblical times. So I believe, one, we've got to say, let me go and find out what it takes, what it's about. See if it's something that you can fall in love with, and it can become your calling. If that is something that resonates with you. But once again, I just believe people have to get out the Google search and they got to do some digging, and then connect with some people that's been there and done that and got the medal or the trophy. So the answers is there though.
Okay, that's good. And you know what? You're really right. A lot of people think that everything is done on the internet. There's a lot of lies on the internet. And I think that the way that the industry is going, it's not as proactive to bring us in. But they also have basically economically taken us out. How? If you have, and there's a bank in particular that says that they're going to help bridge the racial gap, the economic racial gap, but in their bank, if you don't have $250,000, you can't invest. You can't do anything. So therefore, where you trying to bridge? So James, let's hear from you. What is it that you think that causes us not to? Why don't we embrace it?
Well, initially there was some barriers to entry into the field. Just wasn't the opportunities out there, and most people don't understand when you make it into that arena, you have a responsibility to hold the door open for other people to follow after you. And so what we don't have is enough representation because we were denied access for so long. But now we have an opportunity to change that narrative by simply letting people know, hey, this is a very lucrative industry, and most people don't even know the opportunity exists there. We have been taught, we have been programmed to go into the sports and entertainment arena, and you can have great financial freedom. Do you not know that every sports and entertainer figure has a financial planner working for them? Unfortunately, most of those folks don't look like them. Most of those folks are making money off of them and taking advantage of them. All you have to do is pick up the paper, and you can see time and time again where someone has been taken advantage by a supposed trusted advisor who took advantage of them being naive about how money really works. And so it's important for us to project an image that lets people know you are well able to do this. And I understand that you out there as a mercenary. We have to go where the opportunity present themselves. We're going to naturally mine in our own backyard. Do you not know in the United States of America, surveys have shown that in 2021, the net worth for Black Americans was less than $25,000.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so Jesus.
That means there's so much work for us to do to help people to get themselves in a position so we can change that narrative and create that thing that everybody calls generational wealth. But the opportunities are there. We just got to be willing to take time out to help other people understand, hey, you are well able to do this and the door is open wide for you.
That's for truth. That is truth. Did you have something to say, Selwyn? You good? Okay. Okay. Yeah. 25,000. That hurts. Because that's saying if we have $1.7 trillion that we put out every year, we buy, we purchase, we give to other people. We don't even let it circulate in our community. We take it outside of the community. And we don't, I mean, that 1.7 is truly, that's what I think Spain spends every year.
GDP. Mhm.
Okay. So if that's the case, it's not the lack of money.
No.
It's where we're putting it and where do we know what to do with it. And you brought up, James, a very serious situation is the generational wealth. Through my years, I have heard people say, look, I got mine. They just got to get theirs. Bad thought, something that we need to cross out. There's so many. I had some of my clients at one of my workshops, I had them to go to unclaimed funds to wherever the family had lived because it's state specific. And so many of them went, oh my goodness, grandpa's is there or grandma is there, my mother's there, And what do I mean by being there? When you go on, you put your name in, the name of the person, and the list comes up of all the funds that have been left behind, either in banks, insurance policies, and that's another thing with the insurance policies. We don't even put a beneficiary on it. I mean, we're doing all these things, but are we hearing the intensity and the importance of what we have to do to build that? If I die, I want my money to go somewhere to people or organizations that can do something with our community. I don't want it to go to the state of New York. I have no love for it. Governor Hochul got her money. Okay, so she don't need mine. So what do we do? How do we reach out to get people to understand, number one, that we're the trusted people, that you can talk to us because we look like you and we're not trying to take from you. There are so many organizations and groups out there that are charging astronomical, okay, I won't say astronomical, a lot of money for you to get information that is free. There are many of folks who are still doing the Forex, they're doing Bitcoin, but they don't even have their basics taken care of. And I'm not downplaying the fact they're doing something, but how do we get them, to pay $3,500 to $50,000 to get someone to tell you stuff that we basically give to you, to help you through.
Jana, I want to highlight a couple of things that you mentioned. Number one, studies show that 50% of African Americans are living paycheck to paycheck.
Mm.
That's because they have champagne taste and Coca-Cola budget. Everybody driven by status. They want what the Joneses have, so they will sacrifice everything to get what the Joneses got, only to be living in debt. So it's some things that we have to change. And so there's a process that I like to take people through as we help them to understand what's really important when it comes to structuring a financial framework for life. The first thing that we have to understand is you mentioned insurance briefly, but in the course of insurance, that's the fastest way to create an immediate estate. I put $1 million policy in place. God forbid something happens, my family get $1 million. That's a beautiful thing for my family because that policy would do for my family in my absence what I would have done had I been there. But think about this. You're talking about money. Jana, look at this. If you got a million men, you familiar with the Million Man March, right? If you had a
That's
million
right.
men, between 20 to 40, they could get an insurance policy basically for $1 a day for a $500,000 policy, basically about $1 a day. Okay, let's go $1.25 because the Dollar Tree is no longer is $1.25 now, but you can basically get it for the Dollar Tree. Now, think about this: a $500,000 policy for 30 years. As those individuals transition from this life to the next life, Jana, that $500,000 among a million men, that's $500 billion in generational wealth that people will have access to that they don't have today. And it don't cost an arm and a leg. It's simply $1 a day. Our people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Understanding the first thing that you got to have in place before you go to Bitcoin, before you go to Forex, before you go to any of those trading platforms, you better have some insurance in place, because it's not if it's going to happen, it's when is it going to happen, because bad things happen to good people all the time. Most people don't plan to die. Most people don't plan to be in accidents. Most people don't plan to be incapacitated, but it happens. And the solution set is insurance. After you get the insurance in place, now you save money. You can't invest before you save. So you got to save something to invest. That's like putting the cart before the horse. You have to save something in order to invest. And then now you're in a position to invest. Now, I understand people are chasing, I got to get out of debt. I got to get out of debt. I got to get out of debt. But here's how we are as people. I got my bill. I pay my debt down. I pay my debt down. I pay my debt down until I go shopping again. And then when I go out to the mall, I see something I want, I go right back into debt. I pay it down. I pay it down. I pay it down. I pay it down. And now the government done flipped the script on it. You used to be fighting for a 750 credit score so that you get better rates. Now they said you don't get better rates at 750 than you would at 640. And so we got to be prepared for changes. But certain things have to be put in place in order for us to change that narrative and let people know there are a lot of people who are able to help people do some incredible things. And the best thing about it is it don't cost an arm and a leg to become licensed and a professional in this industry.
That's another thing. What does it really take? Selwyn, you can share with us, what does it take to get into this industry? Some of the things that, like everybody's talking, and like James just said, it doesn't take a lot. So what is it that someone has to do to be really able to help folks?
I think number one, what they have to do is be committed to set aside some time. I believe when you pursue a professional license, you stand apart from the crowd, but it's going to take a little bit of commitment. You hear people going to school, going to college at night. They should look at this the same way. However, there's some obstacles. I think one of the obstacles, as I was listening to James speak, is that right now there's a battle for our attention and our minds. So number one, what we've got to do is turn off the noise, the outside noise. There's way too much noise, and increase our level of awareness of how this economic game work. But once an individual, back to that, I was going off to the right here. Once a person set aside some time, it could be done. It could be done. And then treat it as you would a new occupation in a field that you're not familiar with, and somebody's watching you.
Does it allow you to, I know when I came into the industry, okay, that was a long time ago, so I'm not going to sound like grandma walking through the snow barefooted, okay? Right. But when I came in, nobody really mentored me. They gave me a script and they sent me out into the field, and no one even went with me. Right. And so it became difficult. What's today's world like? Is there a possibility to be mentored, or what's available?
I believe it's the platform that you connect with or engage with. There is mentorship available. Additionally, there are processes with certain platform that you plug it in and you play it and it works. I think the challenge is that the process takes time.
Mm.
The process takes a little bit of time, and we've got to commit some time and make a commitment to become subject matter expert or subject matter proficient. But
Can I pick it?
there's an opportunity. There's
Mm.
opportunity
I
available for
got you.
folks.
So James, you wanted to say?
Yeah, I want to piggyback on what Sale said about time. Um, this is a different generation of people that we're dealing with now. And so if we can reach one and teach one
Teach one.
and get them converted to start thinking a little bit differently, we can make a significant impact. Unfortunately, most of those young people think immediate gratification because we live in a microwave generation. Everybody wants it now, now, now. They don't understand the process of sowing the seed, watering the seed, and giving it time to grow, to develop a root system that will allow the plant to grow. And so they're in a hurry to make money. And that's why they're chasing after all of these Forex and all these options trading. Now, here's what I'm going to share with you. There's some folks who are having great success. As a certified financial planner, I understand how derivatives work. Most of the people jumping in that stuff don't have any clue as to how a derivative works. I can tell you, I was on the telephone with one of my clients who took some money from an account she had with me that was making money and went and started to try her hand at Forex in options. She lost over $6,000 within a week
Oh
because
my
she
God.
had no idea what she was doing. And that's because people are in a hurry to get rich. Here's what I would tell most people who listen to it. For an individual in their 30s, I could tell you for $10 a day, we can set you up with a program that by the time you get to government retirement age, Social Security 67 or 60, whatever you want to call it, you will have an income that will probably match what you make working right now. Plus, you have the ability to take it out tax-free. You just have to know where to put your dollars in order to win when everybody else is losing money, because anything you invest in have to have four components. It has to have growth. It has to be safe, which means you never lose money. It has to be protected. That means everything you put in, you get to keep. All the growth you get to keep. If anything happened to your family, get the whole nest egg. But you also need to take it out in tax-free, because the greatest enemy to our money will be taxes and inflation. If you don't believe me, look at what inflation did last year when everywhere else it was 9%, but in Florida, because everybody want to move to Florida, it was 11% Tampa, because all them folks from New York moved to Florida.
That's right. We got rid of them. Because you're right. We sent them down. But the other good part about Florida, I'm going to say something good. You don't pay state taxes. That's as far as I go. But you're right. Is that people don't understand. I have had folks. Now I was an options trader, and I got certified by the Board of Options in Chicago. And it took me all of a month to really figure out. Now, this is with all the degrees and stuff. It took me a month to figure out what I was going to do. Now, even with now, I have the ability to do some other types of strategies, but that tax-free strategy is something that wasn't talked at the dinner table, you know, and yeah, you can still participate. You can diversify. But the key is that, like you said, James and Selwyn, you've got to have the ability to take care of the basics, and then if you really like it, like I've listened to a lot of folks that have come across my desk and table, listening to them as we do financial strategies, and they're really candidates to come into this industry. It is such a need for folks. It's not enough time for us. That's why I don't get after folks who are doing financial planning and telling folks, and I'm like, I don't say anything really negative about it other than the fact is, don't be charging these people no $3,000 or $1,500 for you telling them the same thing that's out here for free. Help them. But most of them aren't certified or registered to do it. I have met gazillions of life insurance licenses people, and the truth is that's the easiest license. But I don't see it, where they're really helping folks. And I know many of you out there in my listening audience have said, I did insurance. I paid into a policy. Well, you paid into a term policy, and a term is like rent. So therefore, that's what you got. At the end of 12 months, you didn't die. What we going to do? We're going to keep paying on it if that's what you want, to just cover the basics. But then if you really want to get to utilize, as James put together was saying, is that you want to build something, a tax-free income for your future, not get rich quick and get the money out right away, but to build. If I have ever seen, I have not seen a building that didn't have a foundation. You have to have that foundation. And once you get that done, then I'm good. I'm gonna let you go. Go ahead, fly. If you want to take 10% of your assets and go into some of this stuff, our community, and I'm going to tap into my brother Selwyn for a quick minute because I know he might know a little bit about it and like to explain. We in a community, when we couldn't invest, we wanted to build. So we did something called a susu. And that susu allowed us to build lump sums of money. But what I'm seeing folks do with the susus now is they're just spending it. No purpose. Is there a way that we can get to these folks who do this? Because they're going to do it. I almost got myself in trouble with one of my 401k plans because I had a full cultural group of people and they weren't investing in their 401k plan. And so the bookkeeper heard me say, look, instead of taking all of that money and putting it into the susu, put some of that money into your tax-free or your tax-deferred investment. She went back and told the president of the company that I was selling another product. I was like, it's a cultural thing. So, Selwyn, you got any ideas of how we can get folks to do something with that money? Because they get lump sums. I know one of my clients, she has a hand of $5,000 every time she goes around. And I'm like, okay, so that means you put 5,000 in and you got 5,000 out. Sound like IRS. Okay.
What I believe is that folks in our community, they need to have their hard drive completely wiped and they need to be reprogrammed. Okay. We got to get back to the basics. One of the things that I say, and see if this makes sense. We go to school, we get jobs / careers, and we work for 40 years on average to get 40 quarters for Social Security. Each quarter of our working life is 10 years. So if people follow simple principles of budgeting, no, first of all, let's have a conversation with them, a common sense conversation to wipe the hard drive, get down to the basics, and do some simple things. Number one, manage our money on a monthly basis. Manage it well on a monthly basis. Spend less than we make. Pay ourselves first. And put our money in places where we're not going to lose it. Stop chasing things that is promising a pot of gold. Because at the end of the day, somebody's got the pot with the gold and it's not you. Learn that life has emergencies. Learn that we are all here for a period of time. The challenge is we don't know when that time clock says it's time. Save for long term goals such as retirement, our kids' college education. Put things in place such as wills and trusts. These simple things, I mean, I see people take this simple industry and make it so complex to do these things that I just mentioned. And once again, we've got to understand that saving and investing, in my opinion, is not seasonal. It's for our life. We should be saving money for the rest of our life. If we've got $100, why spend 100, all of it, every pay cycle, and we're running on fumes until we get another check? That's a mindset. Broke is a mindset. Poverty is a mindset. So that's what I believe that needs to happen. Conversations need to be had with people where we're giving them knowledge to the point where they understand, and then they need a plan. Everybody needs a plan. You know, it sounds cliches, but people don't plan to fail. They simply fail to plan. Simple, simple. And if we can keep this message that we are sharing to the masses as simple as possible, I believe more people will gravitate, because as we're talking tonight, I'm sure, you have people from time to time say, ooh, that sounds complex. Ooh, that sounds, no, 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 no. It's just like waking up in the morning and going to the bathroom and brushing your teeth, washing your face, and then starting your day and doing it until it becomes a habit.
That's it. That's it. That's if we could just get folks to do. And it's not the fact that we don't save, it's just how we save. And then, like you said, I'd have passed by the projects, and and we got the Mercedes, the BMWs, all this stuff. And I'm like, you're in the projects. You can't even park your car without it getting hit. Hurt. What, you know? And it's where you focus. It's how you focus. And I think having a financial advisor is so important, because if someone will sit with you, it's almost like when you go to the doctor. When you go to the doctor, you're exposed, basically, and you got to listen. Now, whether you take your medicines or you don't, that will, and then you got to go see them again in 6 months. Okay, then that's going to make you do some. Same thing should be with your financial advisor. Definitely. So, James, what do you think as far as what else we can do,
Well,
to help our people, because you've quoted some serious figures. So, we know where the problem is. How we get this?
everything begins with education. Again, people need to understand how money really works and then learn how to make it work for them. They they have to understand the dynamics of certain concepts that could change the life forever. For example, um, I teach a 70-30 principle. And that 70-30 principle is simply saying, I need you to live on 70% of what you earn. That means all your expenses, your housing, your transportation, your food, your clothing, everything, 70%, that's where it has to go. So when you're doing that, if you make $1,000, that means you have to live off 700. Well, what do you do with that other 30%? Well, the other 30%, I'm like this. First 10% I give back to God, because without him, I could do nothing. Without him, I would fail. So I'm going to be doing something charitable. I'm going to give back. If you notice, some of the greatest millionaires of time before, Rockefeller, Carnegie, Mellon, those folks, they gave charitable. And so give 10% back, because if you're able to help somebody come out of a situation through your giving, it's going to be a good thing. The next 10% is going to be your short-term investment vehicle, something you want to do between now and the next 3 years. Okay, you got to have a place where you put money that you're saving towards a mission, whether it's a car or a home or Costa Rica or Africa or whatever the case may be. You got to be saving it. And so it's a plan. A failure to plan is a plan to fail. But then you got to have that 10%. That's your financial freedom fund. That's your set it and forget it. Now think about this. In the United States of America, the average car payment in the United States, almost $800 a month. $800. Now think about this. If I paid myself a car payment for the rest of my life, and I'm doing it for 30 years, I'm gonna be set for the rest of my life when everybody else is going to work. I'm gonna be using my money to walk away in retirement, giving me a hefty six-figure tax-free income simply because I understood the concept of setting myself up for the rest of my life.
Right.
I understand delayed gratification. For me, I don't have to drive a Mercedes. For me, I don't have to drive a BMW. You know, BMW bring money with you. That's what it really means. So I don't need that. I just need transportation to get me where I want to go. And then when I get to a season in my life where I want to do what I want to do, I have the ability to do it without worried about running out of money. And so everything has to begin with a plan. And so you got to build a plan based on I'm gonna live on a certain percent. And this is all I'm gonna do. If I do that, I'm gonna do well because now the rest of it will take care of itself. Just imagine if you were saving, if you were making $4,000 a month, okay? If you're making $4,000 a month and you're saving 10% long term, that's $400 that's going to your financial freedom fund every month. That's half of that car payment that most people are paying. You got a six-figure income waiting for you when you get to retirement. If you structure it the right way, understand how money works and how to make it work for you, and then take it out tax-free, because I want all of your listeners to understand, just like Donald Trump told Hillary during that debate, we're just telling you to do what the law allows you to do. That makes you smart. We want you to be smart with money.
Yeah, that's it. He said it very well. He says he uses the tax programs for himself, and I don't have a problem with that. I really don't, because it's true. I know we had a comment from one of our listeners that says, okay, here we go. Remember, one who is looking to invest must not only do due diligence in the company that they will partner with. They must also research the investors. I'm assuming the investment advisor. The color of the skin does not guarantee greater results. That's for sure. Do background checks on your investor. Yes, you can by going to finra.org, FINRA.org, and go look and see what this person has done or done to other people. And then some will invest with anyone who will guarantee you
Guaranteed
great.
animated
If
return.
someone's guaranteeing you, okay, one word in this industry that is not allowed is the word guarantee. Now, the only thing with the insurance world, there are some guarantees there that you can give, which allows us to say the word. But for the most part, if you are doing stocks and bonds,
It's
it
not
ain't
happening.
happening.
No.
Okay, so you're right. This was Kathleen Hopkins LeQuint, and it's true. Is that there's no now there are some people who honestly believe that the nationality of the financial advisor is that they understand money better than the ones that look like them. Can't stop that. Go ahead, James.
You know, it's interesting. If we look at the dynamics of other ethnic groups, do you know that the Jews do business with Jews? Do you know that the Chinese do business with the
China.
Chinese? Do
Hmm.
you know that the Filipinos do business with Filipinos? Um, I can guarantee the majority of the Caucasian people won't come knocking on your door to do business with you. We are the only group of people who put our own people under such a microscope. Let me share this why I say that. I'm a certified financial planner. I'm a fiduciary that's required to always do what's in the best interest of my client. Even though I have that credential, there are people who don't look like me, who could be a DJ or spinning records or something and do this on a part-time basis. People will trust them before they trust
Lord.
me simply because if I look like somebody, that they can relate to, all of a sudden it caused them to question whether I know what I'm talking about. I could assure you, I respect people's opinion to do business with whoever they want to. Me personally, I'm just going to say it like this. I'm black first. So I'm going to always look to give my people an opportunity to help me, because for so long, we are the only group of people who were ever denied rights in this country.
That's right.
They didn't want to have certain rights. And so because of that, I want to make sure I give people who look like me a fighting chance.
There we go. That's the truth. That's the necessity. That's why I say is that you get someone who understands you and understands how money works. Like I said, I hear money green, but the thing is that for money to grow, we got to deal with it on the level that we can understand and someone's talking to us. I know there are certain terms that we use in our community that other communities don't. I never forget that while I was on Wall Street, the guy said to me, "Why your people keep talking about borrowing from Peter to pay Paul?" I didn't know that was an ethnic situation. Okay, but I said, "Well, that means you ain't got enough. You got more month than you got money. Okay, so you got to figure out how to make it work." But why did they just say that? Because it means a lot more when you say the borrowing from Peter to pay Paul. They're both apostles. So, these are just some of the basic things that we need to focus in on. I'm imploring everyone to tap into Access Wealth Nation and keep abreast. Send us an email, because this way you can be on our list to know when we're doing workshops, because these brothers and myself are out here to educate the community. We are here to build, create, and of course continue a legacy, because as I always, it's my Peter to Paul is John shouldn't have to go about, because John Jr. needs to have 10,000. If John saved 10, John Jr. should be able to save 100, and then John the third should be able to do 1 million. Can't do it if we don't start to build for our future. And we can't be so selfish as to say, oh, they got to do it their way. People talk about saving for children's education. We got something for that. You know, my thing is, you don't, well, I was told by someone of another persuasion that you don't pay for your education. And I was like, what do you mean you don't pay for your education? And they told my mother, they said, if Yana's all that, she could go to college for free. So I had a choice. I could pay to go to NYU, half of the tuition. I could go for free and get a stipend if I went to Fordham. So thank you very much. I'm at Fordham University graduate. And the same went for my grad school, for my master's. I went looking for the money because I refused to give anybody money, because the college gets a chance to sit back and come back to me and say, oh, well, we had Jana graduated from our college. Yeah. So you make money that way, and I'm going to get some money. So therefore, I don't have to pay for these tuitions. There's ways if you really think about it, but you can't wait until you get to the senior year in high school. I gotta go look for some money. It doesn't work that way. But just like James had alluded and said, which is true, is that if you're building, how beautiful is it? I have clients now who can take money out of their policies and pay for the child's education. And if anything, get that child, once he gets a job, put that money back in there. Go put it back. You got it, now put it back. It can be done. It's true. So I'm going to give this last few minutes. We've got a chance to talk. So like I said, is everybody be on the lookout. We're going to be doing a lot of workshops on building. And also we're making a call to come to us when we do, because we will be filming. We're doing a few different projects, and we'd love to hear your impression of how money works and your financial literacy. We love to hear the stories. With that being said, I just want to give an opportunity to these wonderful men to share their last words on financial literacy.
Well, mine would be be responsible for your outcome. Be responsible for your outcome, and be very proactive in pursuing that. Please, it's this challenge is based on mathematics, and if it's going to be, it's going to be up to you and everybody else that's listening out there.
Gotcha. James, what you got words to close us out with?
You know, as we bring this to a close, what I would challenge everyone to do is don't despise a small beginning. Start today. You got to take action today. That nation Jana talked about at the very beginning, procrastination, you don't want to be a part of that. Do something today to set yourself up so that you create this momentum of being consistent about saving so that you accumulate to invest and put yourself in a position where you can have an opportunity to do more than you ever thought for. We are the change that we see. You have to make a choice to take a chance on change. Be the change that you seek.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank both of you. You know, I'm going to call on you again to come back because I think these words of wisdom are so important. And the fact that we also have the opportunity to be heard on WHCR in Harlem. So it targets a certain area, but it's across the world. We've got to get our act together, you know, and become financially free. We are the only ones that are going to make the difference to bridge that racial wealth divide. We're the only ones. And if people listen to us, what they say in the Bible, it's only going to take 144,000. It's going to make it. Why can't it be financially? We get I know. I slapped my hand for that one. But it's the truth is that we got to get busy. And I think that we are the ones that will make the difference. I know there's a lot of people out there making a lot of promises, but the promise that I make is that we are here on this mission. Reach out to us, and wherever you are, if you want to meet someone personally, we have a tendency, we do a Zoom, or we, you know, if you down there in that hot town called, you know, Florida. You can go. I went to hot town because Costa Rica was 90 some degrees, but it's okay. I enjoy. And so I want to bless you both. Thank you so much for coming on Access Wealth Nation.
It was a pleasure.
And thank you again.
Thank you.
And we'll have you again. We'll talk, and we're on this mission. We're on the road now. The door is open. And so to the listeners, I want to thank you all for listening. Remember that you're on Access Wealth Nation with Dr. Jana B. Woodhouse every Thursday at 6 p.m. on the Soul City Network and, of course, WHCR 90.3 FM. Y'all have a good night. Be blessed. And remember, action is the power.
Yes. Yes.
She was told that she couldn't play with the boys. She was told that they were too big, too rough, too strong. She was told to give up her dreams and move on. She was told to just be pretty, be quiet, be a lady. She was told that women had to stay on their side of the court, stay in your lane. Playing and competing with men was insane. She was told that men and women would never be equal. Dreaming like that would only be leaked to your mind, to your soul. She never listened. She knew that their thinking was old. She is magic. She is the definition of spirit. She is what champions are made of. She is magic.